Alright, hello everybody, I Exist Octo here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing the War Robots tier list for early 2021. Quick disclaimer before we get into this is all my opinion, and this is all not set in stone, none of this is. Take it with a grain of sand is basically what I'm saying. It's just because I say it doesn't mean it's true. So yeah, and this is not every robot was on this list, so I'm gonna have to put in a few, starting off with Nightingale, which is A tier, I would say, Typhon, easy S tier, Shell, B tier. On to the actual list. Alright, the first robot on the list is the Guang. It's a B tier, it has a resistant ability, but not much base health to work with. You've got some decent mobility, very solid firepower. The ability basically gives it resistance, it lets you fly, which is faster than walking, and you have two built-in Hydra weapons that are target-seeking and can go around cover. Aojun. The Aojun is the heavy dragon bot. It has a built-in Ember that has corrosion damage, 8 seconds of stealth flight, very strong robot, easy A tier. And the Aokin, I'm putting in D tier because it costs gold, which means it's not that good in early game, because your gold should be going to hanger slots. Its firepower is not that great, speed is low, health is low, ability just gives you like an extra relatively weak spark. So not that great, in my opinion. Alright, next up is the Aries. The Aries is, very strong. The Aries has an Absorber Shield. It's the first Pantheon in this list. One of the most damaging abilities in the game. Keep in mind that damage can be multiplied by 2. Aries is an easy A+ because of its mobility, firepower, but it is a glass cannon. You have to play it really carefully for it not just to get one-shotted by anything in the game. Bulgazari is a very tanky boy. It's not actually too incredibly tanky on its own, but its physical shield is very tough, and with Scourges, you can fire them over the physical shield. It's a very difficult bot to take down. Same firepower as the Guang. Pretty tough robot. In my opinion, that's a B tier. It also has the dash ability. Next up is the Bulwark. The Bulwark is a true tanky boy. It has 2 heavy weapons, hundreds of thousands of hit points, hundreds of thousands of hit points in an Aegis shield, and hundreds of thousands of hit points in a physical shield. It's so incredibly hard to take down, and you almost have to double team one if they have brawling weapons and you do too. Now, the one weakness is its slow speed, and once the physical shield is gone, it is gone. But the Aegis shield can regenerate, but you have to disable it to regenerate. So if the physical shield is down and the Aegis has to go down to regenerate, you can do a lot of damage. Next up is the Butch. The Butch is a great sniping bot, same firepower as the Behemoth. In case you don't know, that's 4 heavy weapons, but it can only use 2 at a time, and you have to swap them out. So it works with like 2 sniping and 2 brawling. In my opinion, that's the best way to run these. Or you can do like 4 trebuchet, like a one-hit kill setup. But it costs gold, not that great for early game. Same deal with the Carnage. They both cost gold. Which means I can't put them in the good in early game because all your gold should go directly to hanger slots. But in my opinion, the Butch can be used as a pretty formidable sniper. Just kind of neither here nor there, really. Next up is the Cerberus. My last tier list really messed this up because, I don't know, I guess I sucked back then. But the last tier list put the Cerberus in like C tier or something, or D tier, really low placement. But in my opinion, it's way better than that. Easy B tier for the Cerberus. Its one drawback is it's incredibly low health, very easy to kill for something with a physical shield or an Aegis shield that just dodges its ability. Its ability locks you down, suppresses you, and adds the corrosion effect to you. That comes back every 10 seconds. It has 2 medium and 1 heavy weapons in terms of firepower, an Aegis shield that recharges automatically, and high movement speed. Next up is the Destrier. 2 light weapons, low health, low movement speed. That being said, one of the best robots in the game. If it wasn't for that, none of us would be playing it. Next up is the Gareth, good in early game because that physical shield is very strong. It does cost a lot of silver, but in my opinion, it's worth it because that firepower is solid in the early game. Next up is the Doc. The Doc has the firepower of a Spectre, Leech, Typhon, whatever you want, 4 medium weapons. Can only use 2 at a time. It's the medium version of the Butch, the American bots, I guess, the Wild West ones. Very good in early game. If you have a good longer range weapon like Tulumba and a good closer range weapon like, say, Punisher, that's a great setup. Falcon and B tier, incredibly tanky, very annoying. 3 heavy weapons, but I recommend using Traditionalist, which just means it's a tank, but considering Overdrive is a thing that exists, and health modules are a thing that exist, and healing modules are a thing that exist, this thing can get, like, I think 7 digits in terms of health. Fenrir is not A+ tier because there has been a rumor going around that it will be getting a 15% durability nerf. The legendary pilot for the Fenrir is called Bernadette Wolf. It takes away the Aegis shield but adds either 50% health or 50% durability. I'm sorry, it read durability, but I feel like it adds resistance. I can't tell though. I haven't seen the Manny video on it yet. I know. I'll get on that. But anyways, Fenrir, easy A tier. Firepower and health, both are incredibly high. Movement speed is low, but it also has an Aegis shield. It can move quickly with the Aegis shield. Just all around a very good bot. That is highly recommended. Fury, I'm actually putting in B tier because it has the highest mobile firepower in the game. Talked about this in the last one. That just means it can move around using 3 heavy weapons. The Behemoth can only use 2 while moving around. Galahad, I'm putting in D tier. I'm sorry. Same with Gepard. They're both... they both cost gold, which you don't want for early game. Griffin, one of the best early bots for the game. One of the best early game robots. I don't need to explain that placement. Hades, do I need to explain this one? High health, high firepower, great ability, really good movement speed. Nothing is wrong with it. Everything works super well, but it does require to be played with skill. Haichi, B tier. A lot of people underestimate this little guy. The dashes are super solid. 3 medium weapons is no joke. And the robot underneath the energy shield is no joke either. Hawk, I don't need to explain that, S tier. You've all been maimed by a hawk. I know that. Hellburner, C tier, because it kills itself when it attacks. In all seriousness, though, 1 heavy, 1 light weapon. Incredibly high movement speed, decent health, decent firepower. Ability kills it, though, which in my opinion kind of draws back from the robot, but it can be a great suicide beacon capper in Beacon Rush. That's about it, though. Not anything meta anymore, not anything endangering the current state of the game anymore. In case you're wondering, this footage is sped up 3 times. Hover is a very great beacon capper. There's an infinite flying glitch with it. I don't know if that's been patched yet, as I don't own one. But very strong in Beacon Rush. Inquisitor, B tier. Again, high firepower, high health, solid ability. What more? That's the B tier motto. High health, or at least high something, low something, medium something, medium something. Vader, A tier. The tankiest boy in the game, just based off of base HP. I've seen a Manny Gaming video where he pumped an Arachnid Invader, just juiced that thing all the way up to, like, I think 700 KHP or close to that. It was an absolute nightmare. Go check that out if you haven't. Next up is the Jesse. The Jesse is, I'm putting it in good in early game simply because a Pinata Jesse build has the capability of one-clipping a Destrier, and Destrier is the most popular early game bot, therefore being able to one-clip enemies is great. Kumio, C tier, another suicide beacon capper. It's a Hellburner without the explodability. It's like the kid who ran fast, and that was the one thing he did back in 2nd grade. It goes fast. It doesn't do anything else that great. Meh, firepower. Again, with the right weapons, it'll work, like Scourge or Storm or something. Decent health, kind of whatever robot in general. Lancelot, C tier. Some reason they nerfed the length the ability takes to recharge. I think last I checked, it takes 15 seconds to recharge now instead of 10. And the ability isn't anything insane. It just makes the Lancelot walk faster. Let's go through it again. Decent health. Decent firepower. The shield is questionable at best as you can shoot around it. Just not a great robot. Leech, hard to decide. Really, really hard to decide. I've decided to put it in A tier. Not because it is worse than the Aries, but because it is worse. Well, not because it's worse, but because it can be outperformed by some stuff below it. Great firepower, really low health, great ability, great speed. That's a really hard point for the Leech to get past, though. because it really can get messed up by that low hit point pool. Leo, great in early game. What was I doing last time I made a tier list? The Leo is one of the best early game bots. Great hit points, really low speed, great, perfectly good firepower. Only a few million silver, great bot. Loki, great at making team deathmatches last longer than they should, and making Beacon Rush an absolute hellscape. Mender is a fortress. It can heal its teammates, heal itself. I think it has 7 healing pulses. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. 2 light, 1 medium weapon, decent firepower. Next up is the Mercury. Mercury has 1 heavy and 2 light weapons. Hell dive ability, quite strong. So it's like the Invader, where you trigger where you land and blow up everyone around you. It's an Invader Hellburner. Patton, great for early game. Good firepower, good health. It's a Jesse that fires all weapons at once. Phantom, 1 medium, 2 light weapons, moves very quickly. It can teleport. It was the stepping stone for the Scorpion, the OG Scorpion. And in my opinion, it can still combat and even beat a Scorpion. Very tough robot, very hard to kill. Great for Beacon Rush, comes with max speed from level 1. Legendary pilots have helped the thing out a ton. Great robot. Oh, the Pursuer. I haven't said that word in like 2 years. The Pursuer is another B tier. Let's go through it once more. It has low firepower, fine health, good speed, great ability. Fine ability, passable ability. C tier Raijin, it's a solid sniper. That's about it. It's about as slow as when just walking, it's about as slow as an Aegis up Jaeger. It's incredibly, painfully slow, but it has a physical shield, and the physical shield works better than that of the Lancelot. Ravana A tier. After a series of nerfs nuked this robot, I still think it's in the top contending of the game. 3 medium weapons is no joke, and being invincible with a speed boost is also no joke. Raven, a suicide beacon capper. It's nice, I guess. Raker is a decent brawling robot, great budget, if you're on a budget for war robots. It's great in terms of that, really solid firepower, really good ability, very solid speed, but it will die if it gets caught out. That's guaranteed. Rhino, I haven't said that in forever either. The Rhino has 2 medium weapons, 2 light weapons, but with the ability active, you can only shoot the light weapons, not the medium weapons, and you charge your enemies with the ability active and a physical shield up, which is great, but you can barely do any damage to them unless you're running like Sparks or Shredders or something ridiculous like that. And who would put that on a Rhino? It's also gold, which just means it doesn't work in early game. Regatka, another gold bot. These would be such viable robots if they didn't cost gold. If people didn't have to decide between, do I want more robots or these meh kind of fall flat later in the game robots. It's really sad. Next up is the Scorpion, S tier. Just like the Hawk, we've all been killed by a Scorpion. We all know what it does. It's painful. Spectre, 4 medium weapons, sounds great, but every single other one of its stats is really bad. It got nerfed a ton. The poor Spectre, man. People still run the Vortex Spectre a ton because of the jump. It lets you shoot over cover and stuff. All in all, pretty solid robot, especially with Vortex, Stalker, Suicide Beacon Capper for the early game. Low health, bad survivability, but great speed, low firepower, and the stealth ability. Strider, Suicide Beacon Capper, or Skillbot. This one works as a brawler too. 1 heavy, 2 light weapons, good firepower, good health, great speed, but kind of questionable, I guess, in the current meta. Tier, I decided to put in B tier. It's the best strictly healing bot. I don't count the Nightingale as a strictly healing bot. Again, that's A tier. The tier has 2 medium, 2 light weapons. The light weapons fold back when it's in healing mode and fold up with a physical shield when it's in assault mode. Vidias. We all love the Vidias. We've all used the Vidias. It's great for early game. Never use the Vidias in late game. It will not really work that well for you. Behemoth is in B tier with the Fury. It has 4 medium weapons, but it can only move with 2 of them. You have to be stationary to fire all 4, which I think kind of messes with the robot itself. It makes it a lot weaker than it could be. It could be great, but it's really not that great. Blitz an A+, as it's starting to be a little less viable. It's still great. 4 light weapons, great movement speed, with ability, great movement speed, insane ability, really good health. Hawk number 2, why not? Natasha, great in early game and still actually viable for the rest of the game. It's a great sniper. Nemesis, A tier, the weakest Pantheon, but still one of the better robots of the game. It works great with mid to long range weapons. It's the only Pantheon with splash damage, and there's only an 8-second cooldown on the shield. Really solid robot. And the Jaeger, this one was really hard to place. I hate doing what I did to it, but man, it's a B tier. Too heavy. It's a Rygene. It's a Rygene with a built-in Nashorn. And in my opinion, that's just not that great. I've never used one. I've played them on the test server. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This one might have seemed a little quick, and that's because it was. But if you did enjoy and you're still watching, please subscribe. Trying to make it to 200 as soon as possible. Any step towards that helps. See you all next time. Stay safe and goodbye.